The gentlewoman from California, Ms. Sanchez, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity to speak on the Legal Workforce Act. It's pretty clear to me, if you listen at all to constituents at home, that they want Congress to be focusing on ways to grow our economy. And this bill fails to do that, and it quite frankly fails the American people. The bill also fails small business. Bloomberg government analysis says that the mandatory use of the E-Verify system would cost small businesses $2.6 billion each year. I think we can all agree that now is time for our government to make the business climate more attractive for growth, which is why adding this additional burden doesn't make any sense to me at this time. This bill fails legal workers. In addition to the costs associated with E-Verify, the system is riddled with errors and doesn't work. It doesn't flag the workers that it's supposed to find, and it snags far too many citizens and legal workers in its net. The job market is tough enough right now. It makes no sense for Congress to consider a law that makes it harder for legal workers to gain employment. This bill also fails to protect workers because it will encourage some employers to hire employees only as independent contractors. And that allows an employer, quite simply, to avoid the liability of using employees who would have to be screened through the E-Verify system. However, it also means that these employees lose their rights to minimum wage, their rights to employer-provided benefits, and their rights to workers' compensation if they happen to be injured on the job. These are basic rights that these workers deserve and would lose under the Republican proposal that we are considering today. And I just want to point out something else. The bill also fails our seniors because it's expected that in order to comply with E-Verify, millions of American workers would be required to fix erroneous information with the Social Security office. We already have a lengthy backlog that seniors face when dealing with the Social Security agency, and adding these problems into the system only further clogs up the backlog at the Social Security office. Finally, this bill, I think, fails our agricultural sector and impacts all consumers. It doesn't recognize the reality that Mr. Lundgren was just talking about, that much of our agricultural sector relies on foreign labor, and yet nothing has been done to ensure a steady flow of workforce in order to harvest crops before they wither on the vine. While I don't have farms in my district per se, coming from California, I know that agriculture depends on the labor of foreign workers. And if we don't have those workers to harvest the crops will fail, or the cost for consumers for those basic crops will go up at a time when most families are struggling to make ends meet. For all of the reasons that I've enumerated, this bill is the wrong bill at the wrong time. I hope we can dispose of this quickly and refocus our efforts on legislation that's going to grow the American economy. And with that, I will yield back the balance of my time.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Sanchez.